Mr. President, an editorial this morning in the New York Times is entitled, "Why the Lies About Voting Fraud?" And that's the editorial of which I speak. That's a question that many of us who have been fighting for the right to vote have been asking for decades. 10 years ago, this Congress reauthorized, in a bipartisan fashion, the Voting Rights Act. During the course of many Senate and House Judiciary Committee hearings, we fought against the false narrative that in-person voting fraud was at all common in our country. The evidence clearly and irrefutably shows it is not. But of course, the evidence does not stop those who are determined to make it harder for Americans to cast their votes. Right after 5 justices on the Supreme Court gutted the core protection of the bipartisan Voting Rights Act, several states, led by Republican majorities, enacted voting restrictions that made it harder for many Americans to vote. It is most troubling that our president-elect has decided to himself make an unfounded charge of widespread voting fraud. I can imagine he's disappointed in the fact that he got 2.5 million less votes than his opponent and did not win the support of a majority of Americans who voted last month. But we should all hope that when our next president is presented with unfavorable realities, he will not resort to spreading information that has no basis in fact. That cannot and should never be the standard of American leadership. An article published in the Valley News of West Lebanon, New Hampshire, and reprinted this morning in Vermont Digger, researchers at Dartmouth explored President-elect Trump's allegation of widespread voting fraud, and they found nothing to support his claim, noting voter fraud concerns fomented and espoused by the Trump campaign are not grounded in any observable features of the 2016 presidential election. Many other analyses made this crystal clear. In a report to Congress, the Government Accountability Office concluded that no apparent case of in-person voter impersonation were charged by DOJ's criminal division or by U.S. attorneys' offices anywhere in the U.S. from 2004 through July 3, 2014. That's a reality. And the president-elect should not continue to peddle lies about voter fraud. I say this, Mr. President, because this year we've seen a dangerous uptick in what some call fake news. These are articles that have no basis in reality or factual evidence, but they're broadly circulated because they affirm a particular ideology or because they're a proven way to make a quick buck by drawing the attention of unsuspecting online readers. Fake news stories get attention and clicks. And we saw what happened when a man walks into a rifle into a pizza place in District of Columbia where children often congregate and fires the rifle because of one of these fake news stories he had read. Some consider this despicable propaganda to be harmless, but it certainly is not without its victims. We know that the spread of lies through fake news can have real-world consequences, even for the public's faith in the republic itself. There's no doubt that that's the way Russia sees it. So in conclusion, it should not be too much to ask our elected officials operate on facts and realities. We'll have many debates over policy in the years to come, as we should. But Americans deserve leaders who refuse to peddle in lies for political gain. And I call on leaders on both sides of the political aisle to no longer defend the indefensible.